All right, so you've probably heard of a last will and testament. Who gets what of your stuff? Most people are familiar with what a will is, right? But you might not have heard of something called an ethical will, right? And so ethical wills, not commonly heard of, not commonly spoken about, but they've been around for 3,000 plus years. They've been around for a very long time, right? And basically what it is, it's used to be an oral tradition that would be passed down. Now there's various forms of it being written down, booklets, different things like that. But it's essentially, sharing maybe some of those more personal things, right? Maybe sharing a little bit about, what your childhood was like, um, you know, things about your past, favorite colors, best vacations, what it was like growing up in your area. Or maybe things like, grudges that you held on to, things that you wish that you had resolved while you were alive, wishes that you had always hoped to achieve, goals that, you wanted to achieve that day. Just very much more personal based things. And I think that legacy piece of it, if you will, those passing down of traditions, the passing down of you as a person are a lot of times more important than the money. Now, I mean, you got millions and millions of dollars, that's pretty important. But, a lot of people, myself included, I don't know what my, great great grandparents were like. I don't know their names. I don't really know anything about them, where they came from, their history, different things, what type of work they did, what their families were like, where their parents came from, where their great grandparents came from. And I think all that type of stuff would be pretty neat. I mean, there's obviously an interest in it. You've got ancestry.com and different things where people want to find out where they came from, which is great. You're able to kind of put pieces together, but you really don't know those people. And I think now, certainly more so than ever, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do. You can have somebody film you. There's companies that will do it, or you could just have, a family member, sit down one afternoon, ask you questions about, where you grew up, what your childhood was like, who you first dated, fondest memories of a child as a, adolescent, or whatever the case may be. And there's a lot of things that you can do now that I think that this is one area that traditional estate planning really fails. A lot of people talk about wills, a lot of people talk about trusts and, passing on your wealth and avoiding taxes and avoiding probate and making sure that your family doesn't fight over, who gets the family heirlooms. But a lot of people aren't talking about legacy and carrying that out, passing that out down, because your kids know who you are, and maybe you know a little bit about your grandchildren, and they might have met you when they were really young. But your great grandchildren, your great great grandchildren, those generations aren't going to know anything about you. So when you're thinking about doing your estate plan, think about doing an ethical will, right? Something that is a way to capture down those memories. I always recommend, do a combination, do something written down. There's a lot of books, booklets that have been put together specifically for this. We offer one to our clients. But then you can also do video memories as well and make sure that that's captured. So again, a really important piece, capture that legacy, capture the personal aspect when you're doing your estate planning.